There are basically three time signatures in contemporary church music. There's 4/4, 3/4, and then there's compound meters, usually 6/8. So let's look at a couple common rhythmic patterns in 6/8 time. And these rhythmic patterns, with some variation, will work for other compound meters. First, there's the basic eighth pulse. So I'll just demonstrate something like this in Immortal Invisible. Tempo 150. Immortal, invisible, God only wise, in light inaccessible, hid from our eyes, most blessed, most glorious, the Ancient of Days, almighty, victorious, thy great name we praise. Now you can also expand this straight rhythm to include combinations of sixteenths, like this, for example. You can also create chain syncopations in 6/8. Here's the intro to Sovereign Grace's version of Immortal Invisible. Sounds kind of like this. Now, as I said before, usually syncopated rhythms are hard to sight read. You're better off feeling them than reading them. So playing in a syncopated style is usually more a matter of hearing and imitating than it is reading off a page. And in fact, if you've ever gotten sort of a note-for-note transcription of maybe a contemporary piece and tried to play it, it's really hard to read off the page, but if you know what it's supposed to sound like, it's a lot easier. So of course, that's the case here. And you can take some of these rhythmic devices and you can use these by feel in any number of scenarios where they're appropriate. Now, the most common way to syncopate compound meters is by making a duple. So a duple is just making two notes where there were three. So in the example above, one lolly, two lolly, one and two and one lolly, two lolly, one and two and one. Now I'll play an example of this rhythmic figure in the key of C. I'll play the eighth note at 175, and I'll play the following chord progression listed above. Now, as with all syncopations, you're usually going to combine them with straight rhythms. Now, here's an example of a front half duple, and I'm gonna bring this into the intro to the Church's One Foundation, key of E, eighth note at 75. So the duple feels like this. Other notes, it sounds like this. But even when you add other notes, it still has a front half duple feel. Now here's an example of a back half duple. You can see it above. You can see that it's just reversed. Listen to it being used in the chorus of Faithful and True is Your Name. I'll play it in the key of C, and I'll keep the metronome at 175. Faithful and true is your name, crowned with all glory and honor. So these are some examples of syncopations in compound time. Now, all of the rhythmic devices that we talked about in 4/4 and 3/4 time, well, I don't say all of them, most of them do work in compound time. You just have to take the concept and you have to adjust it slightly. But in compound time, you can add the idea of a duple to give kind of a powerful rhythmic driving feel, an accented feel. So what you want to do is you want to take all these devices, you want to feel comfortable with them, and that any time that you want to bring them out when appropriate, you have them as tools in your toolbox.